Hello, my name is Aoife Deane and this is the Happy Weight Podcast. Thank you so much for joining me. You know, if you're changing your mindset in one area, you will notice that a lot of the mindset shifts are the same in every area. So say for instance, we want a better relationship with money or we want to have more money. There's a certain mindset there that needs to be changed. And just like with food and weight, we can be coming from a scarcity mindset that, you know, like a scarcity mindset can show up with our eating in terms of, I better eat this now because I'm going to be good tomorrow. I better eat this now because soon I'll need to lose weight. So we're eating as if food is going away. And we're also in this lack mentality where we feel there aren't enough opportunities for us to let go of weight or it's too hard. We're really seeing, you know, the lack rather than the abundance. And then when you work on your mindset with money, you will come across the exact same content. You will come across a content about being in the scarcity mentality where because you don't trust that money will always be there or that money is always coming in, you act in erratic ways. And, you know, you could blow money or be unstable with money or maybe be setting yourself up for fail and not being open to all the opportunities of, you know, making money or whatever. So it's very, very, very similar to food. You know, like when we've an awful mindset about our food and weight, what it leads to is chaotic, unstable choices. So it could be all or nothing eating. It could be feast and famine, like, which is, you know, disastrous for our weight and not good for our health. So that stability of trust and abundance really helps things. So I was on my way up to Cork this morning and Trisha was in the car with me and we were listening to this Lewis Howes and Rhonda Byrne interview about, her new book that came out. And it just reminded me of all the overlaps between developing an excellent relationship with food and getting to your ideal weight and the mindset shifts needed there and how similar they are to money. So I'm going to go over like a few of them now. I'm going to go over maybe 5 of them. So the first one, and Marie Forleo talks about this, is your wallet hygiene. So that your wallet isn't all like dry cleaning receipts or if I'm ever getting clothes altered, I always find the like ticket after I've got the clothes back, you know, but you can have just these like bits and odds at ends in your wallet. And it's not really, I don't know, I suppose it's not really high standards for your wallet. It's not like respecting, you know, this is a powerful little section of my life, how I hold my money, how I treat my money, whether we respect it or don't respect it, basically, is how much neatness we have around our finances. So as well as that, maybe, you know, checking your accounts every day, that so you're well aware of what's in your different bank accounts, you're well aware what's in your wallet, and you're open and facing the information. There's no shame, there's no judgment. You're just aware and minding it and like conscious, your awareness of it, right? And awareness that it's in a good place and you're keeping an eye on it kind of job. And so I think it's the same with our body and our food. So this can be quite a leap if we're coming from a bad relationship with our body or our food, or we're getting out of a weight problem, because ultimately that would mean that we're keeping our body well, you know, so we're putting on clothes that make it feel well. We're only having a wardrobe full of stuff that makes us feel good, fits well, looks nice, you know. So it's, again, we've respect for this body. So it's kind of like we're putting our money where our mouth is, right? Because it's kind of like, well, if you want something to work out well, you respect it, you mind it, you care for it, you care how it feels. You celebrate it, you know, and it's like we want it to be in a good place, getting better. So it's the same goes for our body, that we respect it, we respect how we dress it, etc. And then with food, what it could look like, and this is where I think a lot of the time with our eating, we have to like wake up, be conscious, because 95% of our eating is subconscious. It's habit. We don't know we're doing it. We're telling ourselves the same old stories that lead to the same old choices. So the same old stories could be like, oh, well, it hasn't been a good day anyway, so I might as well finish the pack. Or these are low in calories, so I might as well finish the pack. Or I'm going to be good tomorrow, so I might as well eat these. So like the eating is not coming from a place of respecting the food, being aware of the food. It's none of that. So I suppose if we were jumping to that mindset, what it would mean is, what is the prettiest plate that I could put this into? So it's like we're respecting every morsel of food that we're putting into our mouth, right? So it's kind of like we're actually celebrating food. So it's totally the opposite end of a weight problem, right? Because someone with a weight problem is going to have anxiety around food. They're going to have fear, like, is this going to make me fat? Is this going to slow down my weight loss? They're going to have guilt. They're going to have shame. They're going to judge it. They're going to be like, this is high in sugar, low in fiber, whatever. So it's all pretty negative. So us getting to a positive place and mimicking the behaviors of someone without a weight problem would be now that, like, we're so lucky to have this food. And like I was saying to a client yesterday, you can't be guilty and present at the same time. And if you're not present when you're eating, well, then you're not fully availing of all the like neurotransmitters of pleasure that you could be receiving in your brain. And you're not totally clicking in with how it tastes. And you're not totally clicking in with how your belly is filling up gradually with every few bites, because you're all just up in your head. And if we're all up in our head, well, then we'll be back opening the cupboard in 20 minutes time to see what else is there, because we don't remember having any enjoyment or taste out of food, or we don't remember the contrast between how our belly felt before we ate it and now that we've eaten it. So like I said, you can't have guilt and presence at the same time. And presence is also love. So us getting out of a weight problem is with our food. We have presence and we have gratitude and extra bonus points if you can celebrate it. Like, I got this lovely little plate in Dunn's and I kept it in the co-working space in Skibbereen so that I can always have my lunch on a nice plate when I'm down there. And I liked it so much that I got more for my place at home. And so I kind of think stuff like that, like as in, your favorite mug, your favorite, room to have it in, nice things on the table, what are they called, placemats or whatever, that rather than fear now, you're doubling down on love and celebration with food. So that is number one. The next one is Mike Dooley, who's in The Secret. I love Mike Dooley. I just think he's such a nice guy and he's so easy to listen to. So I have a few of his courses and I just potter around the place listening to them if I'm at home on a Saturday or whatever. And one of his things is that every time he pays for something, he's like, good thing I'm loaded. Like, so even if he's paying for a coffee, I don't know, paying for the bus, paying for any little thing at all, paying for parking, he's like, good thing I'm rich, good thing I'm loaded. So he's just always affirming that, right? And I was thinking how that could relate to food. And we're in the presence of delicious food a lot, right? And we're in the presence, say, maybe of a lot of food quite often. Like, say we go to a friend's house for a barbecue, or we go to a family meet up or a wedding or a christening or a 50th or a 40th or whatever. Then we go into restaurants where there's a huge menu, loads of starters, loads of mains possible, loads of desserts. Or we're in a supermarket where there's aisles and aisles dedicated to crazy delicious processed foods. And so, the whole point of Mike Dooley's statement there was, it's a very strong statement, good thing I'm loaded. This doesn't scare me. This bill doesn't scare me. So we kind of want to do the same with food, right? Because it's kind of like I think it's really nice to think that, there's that saying that you wouldn't be given challenges in your life unless you were strong enough to overcome them. And I just kind of think we wouldn't be living in the world, in 2026 when there's loads of delicious, highly palatable foods unless we could manage this situation. So I kind of think with food, it's like we want some affirmation now when we're going through a drive-through or we're in a supermarket or we're at a friend's house, and it's like, good thing I have such a good relationship with food. Good thing I can use anything to feel well. And one of my mantras when I was coming out of my weight problem was that it doesn't matter who I'm with or what time of the year it is or what food is around me. I always use food to feel well, so that we've some strengthening mantra. So that would be number two. The next one is when I read Keith Northrup's book, it's kind of almost about like being mindful about your spending, that like, as in you're using your money to support things that you believe in. Just like with food, we can just get caught up in the norm. We can get caught up with, oh, everyone eats breakfast. Oh, everyone has, I don't know, a shake before they go to the gym. Oh, everyone likes dessert or whatever. So we can have a lot of fillers in our diet. And you would have heard me talk about this on every episode, basically. But like, we have to whittle things down now, just like Marie Kondo says as well, to what are the foods that bring me joy? And with the money one, you know, it's such a thing now, like everyone has their nails done like 12 months a year, shellac, gel, whatever. And I'm just like, that's not my thing. Like, you know, and obviously I'm not trying to persuade anyone, but like, I just don't like all the single-use plastics involved. I don't like all the chemicals being used, you know, and then my nails not being able to breathe. And fair enough, then it might mean that I look like a farmer some days. You know, my nails aren't like up to scratch or whatever. But I'm like spending like, say, 60 quid on that every 3 weeks or whatever. I can find many, many, many ways that I would rather spend however much it is a month to do my nails. So it's the same with food. We are well able to find beautiful, delicious foods that are crazy important to us, or times of the day or times of the week where we need this cookie like our life depends on it. But in order to maintain a healthy weight, it means for all the things that we super love, we have to be equally conscious about the things that we don't love. So, you know, it's just that whole thing. Something has to give. Like our poor body doesn't have room for everything. So you would have heard me on about this before, but like, say for me, I will never, like, God forbid, I will never eat a protein bar in my life again, because I suppose I was having I was probably having around 4,000 calories of protein bars every week. 3 sevens, 21. Yeah, 300 calories 7 days a week, sometimes maybe twice. So that's a lot of calories. And so it's like, why? They did not bring me joy. I did not love the taste of protein bars more than Galaxy, and they're both processed foods. And, you know, it's not a health food. So it's like, why was it in my diet? Like, why? So, you know, again, with our food, we're whittling down what brings us joy. And, you know, it's a super great sign, I think, if our food is like a little bit weird, but it's like our 9-year-old selves would be delighted. Do you know what I mean? That there's like joy and spontaneity in our eating, and there's tradition and memories, and, you know, there's a lot of joy coming into our food. And then anything that doesn't bring us joy, we're just not going to house it on our body. It's not important to us. It's a waste of our time. It's a waste of our pancreas releasing insulin. Next one, Robert Krakowski has that book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which is really interesting. He has a thing that, like, pay yourself first. Like, let all the companies, let them all kick and scream. But like, say if you have your own business or whatever, always pay yourself a salary first. So you're minding the baseline, because you minding yourself gives you the strength to conquer other things, basically. And I work with a lot of people who are like mothers, or they're cooking for other people. And I suppose they'll be kind of almost starting with, what would the kids like, or what would my husband like? And then making that. Whereas I kind of think, start the other way around. Like, if I'm eating this at 6 p.m., what by 7 p.m. will I be like, oh my God, I feel delightful, I feel full, I want for no more. Like, my feeling in my belly is so nice that I'm not willing to eat anything else that could steal this feeling away from me. And the taste in my mouth is so lovely. I am not willing to eat anything else that would steal this lovely taste in my mouth away from me. And I have such comfort in my body that I would love to go to bed and be lying in bed later with this comfort. I'm not willing to give this comfort away in order to have to feel overfull or anything else. So actually start with the dinner that would make you feel right, and then add the fish fingers, or add the extra pasta, or add in the additions that make it work for the other family members, but start with yourself first. Same, by the way, with if you're hosting and you're having a barbecue or you're having a birthday, make sure that your foods are set, that there's like 2 of the dishes that, like, okay, I'll probably have the orzo and the beef or whatever, and I'd be so happy with that. And there's the crisps I like, and there's the chocolate that I like. Oh, and another one, Rhonda Byrne has one of, like, every time she's paying a bill, like, she's saying she's donating it to a company, which is lovely when you think about it, because like, say I've electricity on in here, and so I'm happy to pay my Energia bill. There would be no podcast without the Energia bill. There would be no lights on in here in winter. I couldn't see clients. I couldn't make myself a coffee in the morning. So, you know, when I get that bill, I can be like, thank you to everyone who works in Energia. I am delighted to give you the €70 a month or whatever it is. I'm fully get behind that, right? So we want to do the same with food in terms of, you know, it's a bit of a fake till we make it, because sometimes when we have food scarcity, we're not okay with sharing, and we're not good with like giving away food and stuff like that. So now we want to really be changing our mindset that there's always nicer calories around the corner. Like whatever I'm eating now, no matter how delicious it is, what I'll be eating for my next meal will be even more delicious. And what I eat tomorrow morning for breakfast will be even more delicious. So I'm just thinking of my Diavolo pizza that I get in Baltimore. And I'm just like, so I'd be happy out to, you know, give someone 2 or 3 slices of that, because yes, it's 10 out of 10 on taste, but what I'll be eating tomorrow will be even nicer again. Donating food because you've so much of it. So with the money mindset, it's like, we're happy to pay the bill because there's plenty more where that came from. They are some of the little mindsets that I think overlap between money and food and our body. And I hope you really like this episode, and please like and subscribe, and thank you so much for being here. Mwah.